Good evening, my name is Garrett, and welcome to The Last Call. Tonight's final drink is from the West Fork Whiskey Company. This is their straight bourbon whiskey finished in a Korean BBQ barrel, coming in at a 50% ABV, at least 5 years old. So, obviously, I'm a huge fan of the West Fork Whiskey Company. I've talked about them dozens of times. They're up on the shelf here. I have more bottles of them than any other distillery around. I love what they're doing. Aging, distilling, bottling all their own spirits in-house underneath the West Fork Whiskey label. And they do a lot of cool, fun projects. More recently, they've been working with King Butter. He's been honing his skills in on sauces, spices, hot sauces. The dude is a mad scientist and one of the kindest people I've talked to in quite some time. And with their more recent collaborations, they've done things like hot honey finished, which is pretty good as long as you're up for a hot honey finished. The Swolracha, which is a hot sauce finished bourbon whiskey. And what essentially they're doing is they're taking 30-gallon barrels, filling it full of, in this case, Korean barbecue sauce, dumping that out, and then filling it full of West Fork's bourbon. Now, this has been finished for about 10 months, according to the master distiller himself, and this is such a crazy unique release that I knew I needed a bottle of it. Now, at the time of the release, there are only about 50-ish or less bottles that are releasing, so a very small release window on this first time. Who knows if there'll be another one. Now, we gotta know what we're getting into here, and we have to go into this with a different mindset. This is Korean barbecue, okay? You're gonna think umami flavors, sesame, sweeter barbecue notes, more smokiness to it. We're not looking for something like a French oak finished or anything double oaked, and you're far from that. So again, we can't necessarily judge this upon other bourbon whiskeys on the market because I don't think there's anybody else doing a Korean barbecue finish. More recently, I've seen places like Jim Beam actually do a Worcestershire sauce finished. And then, of course, everybody knows the George Dickel finished in a Tabasco barrel. So again, we got to judge this a little bit differently. However, with that name, I couldn't say no to the chance to be able to pop this one open. So let's get into things. I will say, love the logo. Beautiful on there. I'm just excited. I think this is going to be crazy different. So, as always, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, hang around for a bit, become a member if you'd like. If you're interested in some other reviews that I've done over the West Fork Whiskey Company, links to those videos will be up above and down below. And I'm also going to put a link to West Fork's website because they helped me secure this bottle because I just didn't want to miss out on the opportunity to pick this one up. So they'll be linked down below, along with a link to King Butter's website so you can check out some of his sauces, some of his spices. Again, I got to give them big props for helping secure it. And I'll tell you what, if you're shopping on King Butter's website, you need to pick up the Hot Honey Royale. It's one of the best hot honeys out there. And that's the barrel-aged hot honey. It's got a beautiful, almost like a dark burnt orange to it. Very unique in the glass. Surprisingly, not like it's viscous or anything on the glass. I was actually expecting to see it stick a lot more, means that it's such a unique finish of a sauce. But looks pretty inviting. Going on. Alrighty, let's go for notes. Alrighty, okay. Wow, that is, my brain's going 20 places. Hold on here, I gotta get my thoughts together. First of all, you get the umami-ness. Like, is that a word, umami-ness? Nonetheless, you get those umami notes. You're getting this kind of sesame, and the garlic is really present on the nose. You're finding a slight smokiness, almost like charcoal smoke going on. You find a little bit of the bourbon characteristics in here. You're getting that little bit of a sweet butter corn and a little bit of a wheat spice going on in there. I think this one's using their wheated mash bill. But the garlic is really showcased through it. And it's like a roasted garlic note. It is very unique. Again, your brain's kind of going 20 different directions because you're like, well, it's a whiskey, but it's also savory. Yeah, okay. You are also finding that kind of Korean barbecue. Now, while I haven't had an actual like sit-down Korean barbecue, I've actually had Korean fried chicken, and they have some sauces very similar on the nose to this. But it's very savory and almost, ooh, that was almost like a seaweed. What was that? There's a seaweed saltiness in there. And that might be projected a little bit, but there's like a seaweed saltiness to it. Almost miso. It's a miso saltiness. That's what it is. We're going down a rabbit hole here. But that garlic, it's almost roasted or black garlic on the nose. I'm also getting a little bit of a burnt sugars or a burnt caramel kind of nose going on here. It's very different. The finishing here is going to take forefront. Again, this is such a unique option going on here that's kind of expected. But I'll be honest, like it's given me the Korean barbecue vibes. I'm getting the saltiness in there, the smokiness, the earthiness, and everything I want in that side of things. And that bourbon is also showcased lightly in there. Let's go for a taste, see how it is. Wow. that is I can't even put into words. Like that is Korean barbecue in a glass. Like you're getting this smoky, earthy, meaty umami-ness to it. You're getting that saltiness in there, almost like, again, like a miso salty seaweedy note. A light bit of spice in there. It's not heavy-handed in the spicy characteristics. It's nothing like the hot sauce finished one. But this has got this kind of light, like a red pepper flake to it. Just a light bit of it in there. But you're finding that kind of barbecue-y sweet, but smokiness. The underlying oakiness is showcased pretty well on top of things, which kind of surprises me. And then you're finding that little bit of that wheat spice and just a tad bit of the corn sweetness from the bourbon. This is very forefront on the finish, which is expected yet again. The finish here has got a pepperiness to it as well. Almost like a black peppered steak kind of meatiness. Surprising, the finish doesn't last super long. I expected with that finish that it was going to be clotting or like sticky on the palate, but it actually finishes very softly. And that's not a bad thing, because I feel like this could have been one that could have went very crazy on that and been like sickly sticky on the palate. Probably the cast strength version was a little bit more like that if I had to guess. I don't know. But as it sets, I see what you're going for on this one. It's fun. As soon as it hits your tongue, you're getting that smoky, garlicky pepperiness. That bit of red pepper flake in there, oaky char, a little bit of sweetness in there as well. The like a seaweedy saltiness is showcased through as well. Then you're getting that kind of mid palate here, a little bit more of the barbecue, a little bit more of a sweet paste going on. Then that more of a what do they call it? Sesame. It's got more of a sesame nuttiness here in the mid finish, a little bit of pepperiness, and then it rounds off soft wheat spice with that bit of meaty peppered steak, like thin strips of steak, freshly cracked black peppercorns over the top. Like if you were having Korean barbecue, I can see making a meal off that, putting a small dram of this to go with it, or even drizzle a little bit of this over the top of your steak. Holy crap, that would be glorious to try. I might have to do that. It's unique, and again, you gotta know what you're getting into with this sip, because this is not your typical bourbon. You can't go with that mindset. This is so uniquely different, but yet well executed overall. One more sip. I love the garlic, the roasted garlic. It's like sauteed garlic in there, a little bit of onion as well. And you're finding that instantly. The seaweedy, salty, and a little bit of the sesame notes are very different and interesting to find in a sippable drink. It's unique, and I do like it. Alrighty, let's talk about a grade for this one. So again, we gotta change our mindset that this is not your typical bourbon, okay? We're all in agreement there. Like, it's Korean barbecue finished. And it showcases well and surprisingly works. It's not something I'm going to be drinking every day, obviously. But this is something to showcase that you can do a unique finish and not lose its identity. It's exactly what it says on the bottle. It's Korean barbecue finished. And the price they're asking on this is $60. If you're part of their Whiskey Club membership, which is free to join, you get 10% off on top of that. As it sits, I give it a good solid, I'd say B. It's pretty good. It's not, again, not something I'm going to be having a dram of, but if you threw this into a cocktail for funsies, put a little bit of this into like a, maybe you wanted more of a Korean-inspired Bloody Mary, that would be fun. But I think you could have some fun with some other drink combinations of flavors with this. It is savory, and that's what the different play on this is. It's unique. And at the end of the day, with only having 50 bottles of this out there, it's a part of a unique release, and I gotta give it some credit because what they said comes out in the finish, comes out in the taste. And again, if you're interested in learning more about the West Fork Whiskey Company or ordering anything from King Butter, a link to their websites will be down in the description area below. Go show them some love. So yeah, they have it, folks. The West Fork Whiskey Company straight bourbon whiskey finished in a Korean barbecue barrel. If you have any questions about the bottle itself, let me know down in the comment section below. I will do my best to answer it. And if you have any specific spirit I should go looking for, also let me know down below. Love doing these reviews and sharing with you the experience at home. And as always, may your last drink of the night be the best one.
And I really like it might